Our underreported stories segment tonight. Fox News personality Timpf was attacked this week while she was speaking at a campaign event in New York State. Timpf had water thrown on her by a man who then fled the event. Now, not only is this another example of how much the political discourse has deteriorated in our country, but where are the feminists who claim to stand up for women when a libertarian lady is attacked? With me now, the Thomas L. Rhodes Fellow at the National Review Institute, Ian Tuttle. Ian, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Sure thing, Liz.
Ian, listen, I want to start out first with the political discourse in our nation. I mean, this is probably, it is the most recent, sadly not the only, not an isolated event here. This is the most recent example of people who think that if you disagree with their political views, that is a justification for violence against you. Unacceptable.
Right, exactly. And there'll be people out there, a number of them, I've heard from them because Kat is not only on Fox, she's a writer for National Review, so we're colleagues. There'll be a lot of people who say, you know, it's just water, what's the big deal, you know, man up, so to speak. But that's not what this is. That could have been anything, first of all. Journalists in Mexico, Russia are attacked with acid on a regular basis. You know, this could have been something far more serious. So it's not just, you know, a little shower or something like that. And as you point out, Liz, it's illustrative of an approach to politics which says, I don't have to debate you, I just have to literally, you know, knock you out of the public arena. Kat was supposed to be speaking on behalf of a friend of hers who's running for elected office in New York City, and she was flustered and had to deal with the police and the rest. She didn't get to speak. So, you know, the criminal here succeeded in a nasty way, and that's not the way to conduct any sort of reasonable public discourse. It's not.
No, that's not the way that our nation was designed. I mean, this, like you said, I'm going to use the same word. This criminal silenced her. He was effective in stopping her from exercising her right to free speech here. I mean, yes, of course, she could have gone up there soaked, but it wasn't just an assault on her physically. This was an assault on her dignity, on her right to express her opinions without being degraded. I mean, the violence, and I hesitate to categorize her as a Republican because I know she is very careful about categorizing herself as a libertarian, but the idea that violence is justified when it's someone who leans to the right, when it's someone who's on a right-leaning network, that is pervading our nation as well, particularly in the past year and a half in this election cycle.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the case that you can put this on a spectrum. It's certainly at the low end of the spectrum, but it's on the spectrum with, you know, other acts of true violence that we've seen over the last 18 months. For me, you know, I look at it, and I think Kat, to a certain extent, looks at it this way as well, that this is part of an uncomfortable moment for journalists, right and left. We've seen this regardless of which side you're on. You know, we've seen conservative journalists hounded. We've seen left-leaning journalists having to be ushered out of Trump rallies under security. It's certainly a partisan question in certain circumstances. Often, though, it's a case of trying to shut down members of the press who are trying to do their jobs.
Right, which is shocking no matter what side of the aisle that you're on or no matter who's waging it against you. But I have to categorize this as being an attack on a Republican, conservative, libertarian, a right-leaning lady here, mostly because of Kat's own opinions and who she works for, the National Review and Fox News here. And I guess my next question is, where's the outcry from feminists? They claim that the rights of women are under attack under a President Trump, but when this lady, Timpf, is assaulted, physically assaulted because of her political beliefs, their reaction at best is lukewarm, in some cases completely silent.
Yeah, I mean, we see this frequently, and the left often gets away with it by saying, we're tolerant, but not of those who practice intolerance, right? So, you know, the tolerance has a limit, and the limit frequently is those who have a conservative or libertarian leanings, as Kat most certainly does, and which she expresses with eloquence and panache on her show on Fox and at National Review. So she's, you know, well known for taking a bold stance on issues that put her at odds with a lot of, mainstream feminist, so to speak, even though, she would count herself as a feminist, just in a very different sense of that word. So you have a replay in a sort of different mode of that same impulse that says, yes, we're tolerant, and we're for diversity, we're for a variety of opinions, but not that opinion.
Right. We'll tolerate opinions, just not yours if you're conservative, not yours if you're conservative and female, not yours if you support the Second Amendment, not yours if you're pro-life, not yours if you voted for Donald Trump, not yours if you're skeptical of climate change. Anything that lines up, that is counter, I should say, to a liberal ideology here is not tolerated. Well, Ian, I appreciate you coming on the show and talking about this. And Kat, we're with you, girl. That's inappropriate. And anything we can do, let us know.